Bonjour, Émilie Talpin, OM System Ambassador. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am taking you in my neighborhood with the OM5 and the 60mm macro, and we're gonna have some macro fun. So let's get started. So, as some of you know, this summer I actually moved to Lincoln, New Hampshire, and I feel like I've hit the jackpot because can you see right there? That's my neighbor, and it's mind-boggling. His gardens are spectacular. Good gardens mean excellent bugs, and so I've been spending a lot of time in his garden taking photos. So yes, I'm really lucky. And I also have the OM5 and the 60mm macro. The 60mm macro is really my favorite macro lens, and I thought it would pair very, very well with the OM5. I want a system that's light. That's really my go-to when I go out and photograph. But I also want something that's going to perform, and I think the OM5 has a lot of advantages. It is smaller, which I like. I don't have really big hands, so for me it works very well, and it pairs extremely well with the 60mm macro. And when I go out, I'm gonna go out with the 150-400, and I don't want to have to switch lenses, so I will just take the OM5 with the 60mm macro, and then I can have an extra lens as well, so it's gonna work very well. So I can do macro without having to change my lens on the OM1. And I have the AK diffuser as well, and the FL700. So as I said, I don't want something that's going to be less capable. It has to be in par with my OM1, and the OM5 really is. It's an excellent macro camera because it has focus stacking, focus bracketing, and also live view. When I use my flash, it's kind of nice to be able to see what the photo will look like and have some extra light to be able to focus. So that is a good point. Also, I can program the OM5, a couple of buttons for magnifying glass and focus peaking, which I use a lot for macro photography. Now, let's talk about my settings. So, as I mentioned in my previous video, I set up the C, the custom mode, as my macro settings. So, if I press on OK, those are my go-to settings for macro. ISO 200, I'm in manual focusing because I'm going to focus manually. And I just move back and forth. That's just my style of focusing, especially with the 60mm macro. Here I have just one shot. I shoot in RAW, and you will see if I go to the clog, here is the settings that I change. This is boost, live view boost. So then I can see what the photo will look like, and it enables me to focus correctly. This I switch to bracketing. So if I press on this, I have access to focus stacking, or I can also bracket my shots and do as many shots as I want. I haven't changed this. This I've changed to a magnifying glass, just in case. Sometimes I just need to use the magnifying glass, make sure my subject is going to be sharp, and especially the eyes of my subject. And then the last thing that I change is right here, and this is set as peaking, focus peaking, so I can also check that the eyes of my subject are sharp. And then the last thing that you can see right here is shutter speed 50, that's for the flash, and then I'm at f7.1, that's my starting point. But if I do insect, I will go higher, and then if I focus stack, I'm gonna go lower. So those are my settings. Now that we've talked about the settings, couple of tips when you are out in the field. First of all, flash and diffuser, very often it's key. Right now it's it's been raining all day, so I just actually took a run in between two showers. So the light is very well diffused, but my subjects are going fast. And then if it's a really sunny day, it's the same. You want to kind of block the light with your diffuser and just use the light that's coming from your flash. That's the best. Otherwise, if you're shooting in bright light, your photo are not going to be great. Your colors are going to be very diluted, and also you're gonna not have much details. You can tell that that's a photo that has been taken in full sun. Like, that's an example. That's not good. That's not a good look. That's an example of a photo that was taken with a diffuser. You can see it is much, much better. Now, if you're shooting with the 60mm macro, it's a great lens, but you need to remember that if you want a true macro photo, meaning a 1:1 ratio, you need to press that little button that's right there. So that's why I'm in manual mode, because I don't want to get out of manual, and as soon as I'm going to press half press, if I'm not in manual, then my camera is going to try to focus, and it's probably going to get me out of the 1:1 ratio. That's why I'm in manual focus, and that's how I'm going to focus. So if you want to acquire focus, you move back and forth, and it's going to take you some time and a lot of practice to kind of understand when it's time to press the shutter to take the photo. You just have to practice, 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 and practice some more. But stay in manual mode and then back and forth. And remember to push that little button so that your lens is set to a 1:1 ratio. And then patience. You're gonna have to be patient. You can't run around and scare all the insects. So some insects are gonna be way nicer to work with than others. So if an insect doesn't work, just move on, try something else. It happens. In macro photography, you're gonna have a lot of photos that are not gonna be keepers. That's normal. I might take 100 photos and keep 2 or 3. Then that's a good day. And that's normal, because you're really moving back and forth to acquiring the focus, and you have a very, very shallow depth of field. So yes, it's gonna take a lot of photos for you to get a photo that you'll be satisfied with. Now I know, I get a feel, I know when I have to press the button and when my photos are gonna be sharp, but still, you know, my rate for keepers, it's not like a rate for keepers for landscape, that is for sure. It's a different game. And then use all the tools that we talked about. Use the magnifying glass, use the focus picking to help you out, and also use the live boost mode so you can focus correctly. Now, let's see what we can get. I'm gonna take a couple of photos. I've seen there are a lot of bees. So another tip, in the middle of the day, like right now, those guys are pretty active, but it's been raining quite a lot. So I might find a few bees that are a bit cold, and maybe I'll be able to take a few photos. But go out early in the morning and otherwise later during the day, because they'll be a little less active and it's going to be way easier for you to take photos. And afterwards, we're going to go home. I'm going to put the photos that I took today, and you will tell me what you think of them. Could the OM5 and the 60mm macro be your macro setup? So let's go and take some photos. today. I hope you had a great time joining me on my photo walk in my neighborhood, and I want to thank you again for all your support. If you are not a subscriber, it is not too late. You can click on the subscribe button and hit the bell so you know when my videos are coming out. And let me know if you have any questions, just put them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. So please don't hesitate. And I hope this convinced you that the OM5 is a serious contender for macro photography, especially if you pair it with the 60mm macro. It is such a small setup. So let me know in the comments, is it your setup? Will it be your setup? And I can't wait to talk to you next week. And we are going to talk about tripod and L bracket. So get ready. See you next week. Au revoir.